All right, we got the carburetors back in the FZ1. Just finished rebuilding them. Here's some of the parts we replaced. So we've got the fuel line hooked back up to the fuel pump. Carbs are back in, boots are on. Once we start this, we'll still need to synchronize it, but let's see what happens. Okay, so we've got fuel pressure. Got nothing dripping. Let's pull the choke. See if she pops off. Hey, that's encouraging. Sign. All right, well, next step is to grab the old trusty Motion Pro vacuum gauges here and we'll get these carburetors synchronized. Okay, so we've got the vacuum gauges hooked up. This is a 4-cylinder engine, so we've got 4 vacuum tubes. They are running to the intake manifold here, so we're measuring intake vacuum on these carburetors. We're looking for the same vacuum on each one. Yeah, so here you can see we're number 1 is a little higher than the rest. Kind of about the same as number 4, at about 18 inches of mercury or centimeters of mercury, and then number 2 is pretty close, number 3 is low, number 4 is not too far off. So on this bike, the shaft that turned the butterflies is behind this throttle position sensor, and the adjusters are set up so that there's one adjuster that differentiates carburetors number 1 and 2, another adjuster that differentiates 3 and 4, and a third adjuster that differentiates the system of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the first thing we're going to do is, after this thing gets warmed up, we're going to adjust and get 1 and 2 identical, and then 3 and 4 identical, and then we'll catch the 2 banks and see how they do. It's not warm yet. So that differs a little bit. This little KZ1000 here, these carburetors are set up. The pivot shaft for this is a slide carburetor versus a butterfly carb. So the shaft is here. They're bolted to the shaft to cantilever up the slides, and there's an adjusting screw and lock nut in each one of the carburetors, and that's how you adjust these. And you adjust these, each individually, so you get them all 4 of them synchronized. All right, so once we get this thing warmed up, we'll take a look at it. So we got the bike warmed up now, and once we get the choke off, you'll see the differential's quite a bit different here, or the pressures, the intake vacuums are a bit different. Looks like 1 is around 22, 2 is a little higher than 24, 3, it's around 24, just a little less than number 2, and 4 is a little less than number 3. So it's important to let the bike warm up, because any variations if the in the valves or anything like that as the engine warms up will make a difference in vacuum pressures. And if the choke is on or anything else, you know, the pressures are a lot lower. So, yeah, so let's get going. All right, so it's a little tricky getting on finding that screw to make the adjustment. So we're going to try starting to turn clockwise just a little bit. Okay, so we'll turn clockwise. Number one comes up a little bit. Just a hair too much. I think I'm pretty close. If you put any pressure on the, I push down on the screwdriver, you can see it goes a little wonky. So you gotta turn it a little bit and then not put any pressure on it. I always like to give it just a little blip. See where we're at. So that's pretty good, I think. Now looking at 3 and 4, those are about the same. So then I'm just going to jump to the middle one and adjust the 2 banks, and we'll see what happens there. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think we'll take that. So now, before we button it up, we got to let it cool down, because I can't get those tubes out of there and the caps back on with a hot engine like that. But that's refreshing. When we went to start this bike this spring, it was seeping fuel out the carburetors. This is a 2001 bike and it's 2022, so gas is kind of old. But thankfully the parts are available, and just takes a little bit of patience, but sounds like it's running pretty good.